lorry stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy Grad-made machine is well kept for such an old machine. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin with personal belongings, stickers, insignia. The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar paraphernalia. Proclamations about honor, strength, and purity are glued to various panels. A large metal pendant hangs from the rear view mirror. The pendant features a sun crowned with wavy rays. It is the seal of Royalist era Revachol. The back end of the cabin has a small perch to sleep, large ashtrays. There are several. A book with ragged edges catches your notice. The front cover features a large muscular man. The title reads, Man from Eamdal in the Lost City of the Pygmies.
Racist nationalist paraphernalia. Not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy. Likely, yes. This guy's proud of who he is. Drapes it all over his machine.
There he is, in front of Rita, smoking nervously, hoping it's over.
Это, подскажи, меня нормально слышно или нет? Я там немного подкрутил настройки, фильтры поставил, шумоподавление. Лучше нет стало? Или так же? Все, понял. Сейчас убавим. Вот так нормально? Ну, сейчас я поем и микрофон надену, пока сниму.
A Stars Ryko, one of the finest Zhimsk-made motor carriages ever. An oldie, but a goldie. Not many people outside of Grad, and Revachol West too, it appears.
A Stash Raiko KK2. That's a classic model. Never thought I'd see another one repainted after what happened last time.
No, only that the motor carriage is typically baby blue. The colors of Sigismund the Great, an ancient Zemsk ruler. His banners were famously zephyr and white. The colors of the stars Raiko.
That's, well, yes, exactly it, more or less. Except it was a crowd of them. Tore him out of the vehicle. They said it was an honor killing, Hussar style. The James community protested the trial, flying the colors. 5,000 came to protest.
Correction. 4,395. The fourth largest public protest of a criminal trial in Revachol.
People we are paid to protect. Let's leave it at that. I try to avoid drawing far-gone conclusions like this before actually examining the body, but my initial guess is the two are unrelated. 4 years for murder in Reunion. The perps were remorseful. Their sorry knocked 8 years off the sentence.
The prisons in the greater Revachol industrial harbor are already full. Prisoners are expensive to maintain. An old monument stands in the middle of the traffic island, pointing toward the sea. It looks as if it's been reassembled piece by piece. A silver plaque on the statue's pedestal reads, "I am Philip III, the Squanderer, the greatest of the Philippines." As you look up, you notice something about the statue. There are some odd indentations on the king's chestpiece. Something with great kinetic energy seems to have impacted the cuirass, around where the heart is. Someone shot him in the heart. Interesting.
Okay, I can't see it, but I take your word for it. Well, Martinez is riddled with bullet holes. This place saw a lot of action during the revolution. But the statue is recently renovated, so maybe a joke? Target practice or a political statement? If we connect every bullet hole in Martinez to the murder, we'll get an overwhelming amount of loose threads. But then again, we don't really know what... I've made a note. Don't hold your breath.
The king stands high above you, surveying the bay, mute and indifferent to your sightings. Even by the standards of the Philippian kings, old sumptuous Philip was known for his profligacy. Well, he blew through the whole national treasury, starting the decline of one of the penultimate centuries. His own maladministration foreshadowed the fall of the monarchy. During the anti-centennial revolution, an end to his family line and the monarchy on the Insulindian Isola. Stories have it that he had his bedroom converted into a treasure chamber, where he stored unfathomable wealth. Krugerrands, bars of... he called it the Sol Auron. It was obscene. There were whispers he slept on a huge pile of gold-dipped feathers, like some obese dragon, instead of a bed, like a normal person. But wait, you haven't even heard about his fabled cocaine addiction. You see, old Philippe wasn't just good at squandering the national treasury on gold and ceremonial weaponry, he was also a prodigious snorter of nose candy. That's what the revolutionaries said 150 years later, right before they emptied out the royal mausoleum and dumped His Majesty's mortal remains in the Insulindian, beneath the cold waters of the Insulindian Bay. Thrown there by the revolutionaries, the original was blown apart by communards, then further damaged during the landing of the coalition's airships during the turn-of-the-century revolution, when most historians think the coalition's hasty landing may have ultimately saved the statue. If the communards had more time, they would have reduced it up to even 5. Some years ago, a group of liberal, artistically inclined individuals, designers mostly, thought it would be ironic to restore the statue of the most wasteful ruler of revolution. The statue is supposed to capture the moment it was blown apart, like an instant frozen in time, a rare butterfly trapped in amber, floating on a sea of shit. People in Martinaise tend to disagree, as do many prominent art critics and thought leaders with more nuanced social awareness than the young ironists. Those critics might have it wrong though. There's more to it than just ironism, but you can't say what precisely. Perhaps this art mystery will be solved at a later. Philip III, the squanderer, however, with his bronze face up in the air, doesn't seem concerned about what, not that he ever did in life either. The small, wrinkled woman does not greet you. She nods along to something on her radio. A photograph is clutched in her hands, and the photo, an ambrotype from the turn of the century, as golden as her smile. No response. Wherever this woman is, your words fail to reach her.
Wait. She's just a distracted old woman. Better to leave her alone. Why? I just told you why. Yes?
Нормально, если меня слышно, или еще убавить микрофон? Ну, вроде убавил.
Scab?
You're hazy on the notion of a scab. Smells like politics, though. Maybe it's got something to do with the flask he reaches for from time to time.
Окей.
A kind of a worm, content with mere survival. They come, they want to do our job for shittier pay, screwing over both themselves and us. Everybody loses. Gotta be bloody stupid or freaking evil to scab. Or I guess scared maybe. But scared of what? Of who?
В принципе, на эту роль я подхожу. Я играю за да нельзя тупого персонажа пока что.
Personally, I'd rather beg than scab. If the gentleman shouting on the street came begging, maybe they'd have gotten something. We've explained the matters, but they don't listen. This lot would be reasonable and go home if the big guy wasn't riling them up all the time.
Big guy. He means the leader of the scabs.
I was just messing with you. No one's ever seen a cop scab. Imagine, you cops going on a strike, but then another cop comes in and says, "Let us cop for less money." Speaking of, what brings the RCM here, to the wild north? Come to see the strife?
С него бабок долг попросить.
Sure thing, my friend. I can help you out.
А, нифига себе.
The coin lands into your hand as if it has always belonged there. The swallow returns.
Always glad to help out the RCM. Shame I can't do more. Things are meager.
Что
at the
такое
moment
РГМ?
to-
Или я не помню, или об этом еще не говорилось.
You know, the winter's fat is slowly running out and all. Still better than scabbing, though. Nothing to worry about, really. The jam's a bit of a mess, cargo can't get in or out. The rationing is a bit stricter, is all. Supplies should last the strike, though.
Левошольская, гражданская, понял.
I'm always glad to help out when possible. Not like these slithering scabs. Murder, huh? That sounds like a lot of hard work. You'd never see me investigating a murder.
Понятия не имею, да. Я тоже пока не имею понятия.
Of course, Policia. It wasn't me. You can rule me out. Easier that way.
Ну, в принципе, помог. Это был не он, я понял.
He didn't do it. It's the truth.
Ну, в принципе, все остальное я и так знаю. Для чего устроили, что там за воротами. Так что пойдем дальше.
body betrays your degeneracy.
Yeah, Measurehead. His body totally betrays his degeneracy.
Пока что самый адекватный вариант.
That is precisely the negligence that has led you to succumb to Al Ghul. You reek of it. An invisible sword of Al Ghul emerges from your throat. You cannot see it, but others can. It is making the woman in my company sick. Yes, Al Ghul.
He means alcohol.
У меня одногруппник был в технаре. Артем Гуль. Фамилия была у него.
Correct, my small skull servant. Al Ghul is an ancient Ilmaran poison, a parasitic fungus that has colonized your race. It is a trick the desert pygmies played on you.
Intentionally fermented drinks have existed for 10,000 years.
Your life and the life of your race revolve around Al Ghul. It has everything to do with why you're here. Your mouth moves, but the one who speaks is Al Ghul. You are but a vessel for the Occidental Haplogroup B4 is done giving orders around here. The influence of the
Does this remind you of someone? The guy down there?
begging for help, attempting to pass fear for cooperation. How far the Occidental Haplogroup has fallen. You were once a noble, and you gave the world eugenics, electricity, and powerful weapons of war like missiles and aerostatic aircraft. You dominated lesser cultures, like the deformed Hemians and the inexplicably potato-obsessed Khoikos. But now your ascent to the genetic summit has halted. You are obsessed with... You will be superseded. Isn't that...
It is, baby, yeah. You know it.
There is a button right behind him, just out of reach. It must be the one that opens the door to the harbor.
Enough with this begging. You should leave the stage of history with dignity. Bring your troops to the Simonine Islands and to Boogie Street, and we will pulverize you. When you are gone, the walls will be lined with bottles of Al Ghul, your beloved beverage. Inside, we will store the odes to homosexuality you call art, and your microcephalic skulls.
Это что, Александр, что ли, у нас работает? Похоже на него.
There may be a peaceful solution to this. You could internalize Measurehead's race theory. He would take you as one of his own. best idea.
Ну, тут точно я хуй успеха возымею. 8% всего. Давай попробуем вот это.
Ask what kind of races there are first. Classification is core to this stuff.
Do you?
The lieutenant looks toward the harbor's electronic door, and then to you.
You are obviously a liberal, Sailorite. A polyculturalist. I can see it from your love of microtechnology and your sartorial choices. Do not... There are 3 categories of race. Type A, the heroic races. Type B, the servile races. And the vile CF race cauldron of pederasty.
Пидорасти.
Which one do you need education on? Those are the Simonese, the Areopagite, and the Occidentals, excluding the Maun, of course. The Maun are riddled with eczema to the point where a receding genetic pool has led the Maun on reprehensible street parades. In Maun cities like Stadskanal and Vredefort, wearing wooden clogs on their feet and little green tassels on their hats. You know them by the names of their nation states. The Oranese, the Gotwaldians, and the...
Mahoon is a derogative term for first world people of Gotwaldian descent. They do not all have eczema. Also, people of Katla, like the Suru and the Huhu, are much more lactose intolerant. You're welcome.
The Maun are proof that you can have too much Occidental racial purity and tassel-centric culture. Inbreeding has led to a lactose-intolerant subrace whom no one can take.
Colorful tassels are, let's be honest, not a good sartorial choice for this century. You might want to avoid wooden clogs too.
The Vespertines and Messenians of Vesper and Messina, the ancient Meteorans of Meteo by the golden Pisantic Sea, the Suren of Sur-la-Clé, and even the North Königsteiners. All the other large Mondial civilizations, the Mesk, are too yellow and oleaginous to count as a heroic race. True, they are violent and expansionist, but they have a glandular overproduction of sebum. Sebum is leaking into their brains, making them listen to El Mariachi music and eat toxic minced meat-based food. As proven by the Maun and the Mesk, Occidental Type A is in retrograde. The Simonese and the Areopagite are on the ascent. The Areopagites are sleek, long-headed. The Simonese are powerful, mesomorphic. The former is an immutable progenitor, unchanged since the Super Isola of Pericarnassus. Ancient brains rest in their slender skulls.
И же здесь тяжелые слова. Читать прям супер сложно.
The latter is perfected and adapting. Together they form the Simeno-Areopagite or Simeopagite super race. That is all. There are no more type A races in the world. You need to know both types A and B to understand the context for the reckless.
Yeah, you have to have context, you know.
Type B are the unheroic races, amorphous non-competitors of the great race. The Koikos and the Vacholier, they...
The Koikos of Grad, Yugo, Zhimsk, Shest et al. Are what you would call white officer in a suspect description.
Yes, to an untrained eye, the Koiko appear white and pinkish, like a ham sandwich. But look into their eyes and you will see. They are of an indistinct color, and so is their skin. Pinkness is a racial quality that has to be earned through centuries of advanced ballistic warfare and cultural domination that the Grad people, the Koiko, the countless micronationalities of Grad, are all inexplicably obsessed with Potat. The only thing they like more is dividing into microscopic ethnostates.
Wouldn't he be one for ethnostates?
They are microscopic. The Semeno-Areopagite superstate will cover the entire remaining planetary crust, uninterrupted. From Holy Semenine to the Pole, its leaders will be the genetic epitome of the Semenese and Areopagite stock, elected by nature. The Vacholians, halfway between Type A and the Racial Cauldron. Too mixed to know right from wrong. You tried your degenerate little revolution.
Is it 82,000 years that we've been recording history? You have very little idea of what is happening, but that seems a little off.
The mysteries of the people of this planet are a tragedy that has played out countless times over, like a fever dream of skin. The revolution came to Ravachol from Grad, in Zaraz-ridden potato carts. It is literally an illness, a prion disease that leaves the parietal and frontal lobe ridden with holes. A soft sponge like the revolution is fatal familial insomnia. A hereditary prion condition passed from the Koiko to the Occidentals. But not sexually. Probably through trade routes, enough of Tibet mediocrity. Tips CF are a museum of failed chimeric experiments and tragic maladaptations. They are tortured creatures waiting to be put to sleep. Your morbid interest in them worries me. Lesser races like the Mosquito, a grotesque mixture of a masked woman and a Semenese man. Only possible if the mother is masked and the father Semenese. The other way around, they fail to produce offspring.
Это
The
дикое видео,
mosquito is
Роман.
born sterile, like a donkey. All they have
Опять
left
же
is
по
to ride
рекомендациям
customized motor carriages
Павла.
with hydraulic suspension, listening to aggressive El Mariachi music to vent their impotent despair.
It seems unlikely that two human beings produce genetically sterile offspring.
Я так понял, что здесь вся игра строится на диалогах и тому подобное. Ну, просто я еще не особо много играю, чтобы разобраться здесь, что к чему.
You are right. You have misunderstood. You lack basic phylogenetic education. Then there is the Semino-Koiki Chimera. Are you sure you wish to know of the Semino-Koiki Chimera? It is not an aesthetic. The Koiko, as you know, are very servile, especially when they meet the rich man. Racial scientists have toyed with the idea of crossing the Simonese with the Koiko to produce a superb. This will never happen. The Simonese and the Koiko may have similar interbreeding problems as the mosquito. We will never know precisely. No Simonese man could maintain an erection in the suffocating but enough. It is cruel to entertain ourselves with the deformities of type CF. Were there any able-bodied races you needed education on? You understand nothing. To solve the great race enigma, you have to first ask yourself, what is the race enigma? You have not even worded the mystery, let alone solved it. You need to internalize what you have heard here today, then return to me. This clarity does not come instantly. I cannot possibly imagine what else we have to discuss, Tibere Vasholian. Your love for disco music and
Насколько
venereal disease?
это сейчас будет правильное решение сделать такой шаг? Или не надо? Шанс на успех 8% всего.
Racists are generally not very good examples of their race.
Welcome to Revachol. You hear him yell at a redhead woman visiting the fritter nearby. He must think redheads are immigrants.
I am not like them. I am craniometric perfection. I have taken the trouble to permanently draw.
The drawings are precise and look true to their pseudo-scientific ambitions. One thing, however, it is not entirely free of throwbacks in the phylogenetic tree. His large jaw, for example, could be a trait indicative of criminalism. Also, his earlobes could be small.
atavistic stigmata makes pussy say yes, plenty.
Babe, thanks. But I got this. There is nothing funky about them. There are 3 categories of race. Type A, Type B, and the vile CF race cauldron of pederasty. Which one do you need? I cannot possibly imagine what else would... Oh, don't be vulgar. White or not has got little to do with this. The race enigma runs much deeper than that. Mr. Clare is a man of vision and means. He has the will to confront international capital. Something your race, naivistic communists, never jam. Individualism. You have gotten these ideas from degenerate youth culture, have you not? You... Of course it does. You are a degenerate individualist and a rock and roll. I am not surprised you enjoy it so much. This has happened to many of the side products of the inevitable cultural victory of the Seminoles race.
Measurehead stoically looks to the distance in silence.
Опа, кстати, у меня шансы повысились, нифига себе. На целых 9%. А с чем это связано, интересно? Может попытаться еще шансы свои увеличить?
I think this racist is better than the last, but the next racist will be the really good one.
That will be the...
He will grant us 3 wishes.
Your pedomorphic friend has quick wits. A protruding occiput and
Pedomorfный
an
друг.
indented zygomatic bone.
The lieutenant does not flinch.
You should keep him close. The congenital defect of farsightedness does not render him a complete invalid.
Ну что, ебанем
Still
его?
has
Попробуем.
the use of his mind.
А, что-то, блядь, не получилось.
How did this happen? Your little fist is in his giant hand, and he's squeezing it. It hurts.
Ну все, отпусти, заебал.
You must be out of your mind, degenerate drunk. Say it. I am a degenerate alcoholic.
Your fist cracks in
Ой,
his
бля,
hand
что-то
like a
меня
ripe
уебали.
apple. Pain shoots up into your brain as he's twisting it more and more.
The words to the song have changed. Say, I am a violent drunk.
You feel something in your chest, an unnatural pressure. It's spreading to your left arm, your jaw. Very, very bad. This is the end bad. All you feel is pain and weakness. You have to surrender now. We all do. It gets so dark. You don't even see her face. Like you always, cop suffers final heart attack. A detective lieutenant of the
Бля,
RCM
пиздец, чё.
passed away yesterday. His death,
Конец
though
игры
abrupt, did
получается.
not come as a surprise to those who knew him. He was the heaviest drinker I'd ever met. Captain Ptolemy Price, the deceased superior officer, commented, "That ain't easy on the ticker." He loved his liquor, sure, said Detective Chester McLean, friend and colleague. But I think before he ever had a heart attack.
Что-то, бля, обосрался.
There is nothing. Ever. Never. Ever. Never, ever, ever, baby. An inordinate amount of time passes. It is utterly void of struggle. No ex-wives are contained within it. An awareness creeps up on you. A mass lies hidden in your... Ex-love. Ex-tenderness. It is... Do you really? Alright, nothing down to fuck all, borough. Do you want me to upgrade that to a one-way trip, sir? The song of death is sweet, like a fly to the ointment. Your conscience sticks to it. The limbed and...
The stench of liquor rises from your mouth, and with it, a fiery streak.
Somehow, you know what it is. A caprice can...
А чё он у меня не ходит-то? Что случилось?
You hear a jingle. Keys are clinking in the pocket of your... It says whirling in rags on the aluminium keyring. The whirling in rags is a hostile cafe.
Как это сделать-то? А, вот. Меня там отъебали, короче. Руку мне сломало, и я умер почему-то. От перелома руки, видимо. Может, у него мозг в руке находится или сердце, я что-то не понял. Ну а чё, я ж не знал, что он драться будет. Я думал, что я его толкну просто и все, и быстренько там по шурику сделаю и все. Получилось? Не получилось, что теперь?
A simple little cadence. He seems to be making it up as he goes.
It's the jam, my man.
The air from the east is thick with the smell of crude oils, heavy metals and other byproducts of the modern era. You could...
It's a traffic jam for the ages. Harbor gates up the street are shut tight. No explanation given. Workers on strike, scabs agitating. Meanwhile, we're all stuck here in long-haul limbo for days upon days upon days. Upon days. Yeah, exactly.
Кто ты имеешь в виду? Тот чувак, который мне руку сломал, или вот этот?
It's official. He too agrees. This is the antechamber of the afterlife.
Нет, я, в принципе, все читал. Как бы не то чтобы все понял, но читал все.
Feels like forever. Like I was born on this here roundabout and this was all I ever knew. Just me and the metal and the tires, the oil and the fumes and
Mazout is an antiquated term for heavy fuel oils. This man has a barely suppressed performative streak, or he just likes unusual words, or both.
Yeah, imagine. It's been a whole week already. So tell me, what do you need? Huh? Oh. No, I ain't got any money. They don't want to pay for unfinished work. The bosses, man. Dunno. What you need? He ain't one of us drivers. I know that. All accounted for. Otherwise, I haven't really asked about that.
It's easy to see he's telling the truth. He's kept his nose out of the dark stuff. The man taps his fingers rhythmically against his arm.
Oh, high-grade narcotics, illegal firearm.
Relax. He's merely joking.
Ты арестован, сука, мордой в пол. Нет.
Ha! No, I'm joking, my man. Found runs a nice, clean business. This haul of cargo is mostly sporting goods. They usually get shipped to Grad and the Occident, though we've been making headway in the Il Moran market lately. We're pals and all, but I can't just freely hand out the merchandise. The bosses won't be happy.
Блядь, думал, мне сейчас подгонит какую-нибудь импортную одежку.
This rockin' beauty. Sure is, like a rash you can't get rid of. You interested in heavy-duty cargo machinery?
A motor lorry, also called a camion, on Caillou and neighboring islands. This one looks roughed up enough to be some sort of found rust bucket.
Good eye, my man. Yup, she's an old one, but reliable. Me and her spent a long time together.
The man taps his fingers rhythmically against his arm.
Don't be a stranger.
Я был. Какая-то гоночная тачка стоит.
Before you stands a motor carriage. The bodywork is covered in blue and vapor emanates from the large engine on the back of the vehicle. It hasn't had time. This must be the infernal machine, that toy from oblivion. The Caprice Kinema motor carriage. In the cabin, you are welcomed by a set of steering levers, a radio microphone on a hook, a pull-out toolbox under the seat, and the soft glow of a scent of leatherwork and heavy fuel oils washes over you. The white suede feels luxurious under the touch, and the metal clutch handle so very familiar. Your fingers waste no time closing around the handle. Clutch disengaged. Release the handle. Clutch drops. Right foot yearns for the familiar touch of the accelerator pedal. You have synced with the machine. You feel an uninterrupted connection to the mechanics. After a while, you realize silence is your only answer. Of course it's only in your head. Of course it is. but it almost feels as if the clutch handle is gently squeezing back. The smell of freshly treated leather, the lack of dirt and dust on the dashboard, and a neat little brush in the... I'm good, cherished and cared for, in the hands of a tending owner. At the bottom of the sea. So strange. The machine is not on the bottom of the sea at all. It's right in front of you, well kept. Why did it say? The handle is pulled back. Somewhere deep inside the drivetrain, the disc is in the cabin. You see a set of steering levers, a radio on a hook, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel. As you tap on the gauge, the indicator pin jerks as if startled. It's in the last.
There's no use pressing the heat button. It won't start without the
Translation. We're not going anywhere right now. You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. Cop habit. You look at this isn't case related, you think. Hard to say. Your vision is blurred and you're having difficulty concentrating thanks to your rim. The tire tracks were left here by an unknown event that took place some days ago. It's a message written in the language of burnt rubber. Some of that rubber stuck to the tiles right in front of the whirling in rags. This is point A. The driver started there and then accelerated straight into the fence, left a hole big enough for the Franco-Nigerian cavalry. The driver proceeded to back out of the yard, barely stopping before hitting the adjacent before heading south. Must have been in a hurry.
I'm not sure. There are plenty of traffic accidents waiting to happen in Martinez. With the jam right here on the roundabout, I would keep them.
You could follow the track south. There seems to be a canal there. See where they went. If you find the time.
You are correct. This is a rather motor carriage-friendly city.
Где тело-то висит, что-то я понять не могу. А, вот он. А, и дети, да, играют. Ну, прикольно. Взъеби его. Ты чё материшься, пиздюк?
Kuno's got this.
If there ever was such a thing as an ugly kid, then this is it. He's almost exquisite in his ugliness. Like a
Изысканное
gremlin.
родство.
Oh yeah, nappa comfy, Kuno!
Can't talk, pig. Shit's coming up strong. Throwing rocks.
Shit coming up strong. That sounds good. Joyous. You should hang out with this kid and see what that juicy shit is all about. I mean drugs. The kid's on drugs.
Yeah, Kuno! Ride the lightning, Kuno!
Kuno's riding at sea.
The rake, Kuno! You should throw the rake at him,
Чисто не
Kuno!
говорю.
The fuck does Kuno know what a rake is? Kuno's not a gardener. Fuck no! Kuno doesn't buy that shit. Fucking end.
Fast. This kid has got street smarts.
Хуя он дерзкий.
The fuck are you talking about?
He's calling us Kuno! He says we're fucking each other!
Что за дети, а?
We shouldn't do anything. I don't tempt, you will see.
The language these kids are using, pure unfettered id. There will be no reasoning with those creatures.
Alright, entertain the Kuno. Show me what you got. What you got there? What you got, huh? Show me what you got.
The kid moves his hands like a basketball player dribbling fast.
Shitload pig. What's your question?
Don't tell the pig shit, Kuno!
This is where you quickly ask him questions. Real cop questions, like a cop.
Just a couple of pigs sniffing around in the dirt. That seems pretty fucking suspicious to Kuno.
Yeah, you tell the faggoty, Kuno!
Kuno's fuck imp. Kuno uses the fuck imp for target practice.
Еблера.
He's trying to hide the fact that he doesn't know.
Kuno knows all kinds of shit. Kuno's not a snitch, that's all. Trying to make the Kuno sing into the popo phone. Probably climbed. Kuno was busy down the road when that shit went down. You heard Kuno. Kuno wasn't even in Martinez. Kuno wasn't in Revachol. Kuno wasn't regional. I don't know. Some fucking Mesk or I don't know. Some other place.
Night
Night
City.
City. Kuno was in fucking Night City.
There is no Night City anywhere. That sounds like the name of a city in some pulp science fiction novel.
Kuno gives this info out on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know.
Thanks, Kuno. That's one name you can now cross off the list.
You're testing Kuno's patience.
Get lost,
Kuno doesn't fucking care.
Kuno, the pig's getting pretty close to me. Come to snuff my shit out, I think. Looks like it's time for me to go, Kuno. Pig's come to take me in. I'm going away for a long, long time, Kuno.
What's going on there? Fuck are you trying to pull, pig?
I come from the woods, good Davidu. You don't want to go there with me. You don't want to see what I've seen.
Don't be traumatizing it.
I'll die before I squeal, pig. Murder was the case they gave me.
The corpse looks at you with bulging white eyes. The face around them does not look human. It's swollen and ready to burst. His lips are fish-like and his tongue like a ball gag in his mouth. You seem to be holding your breath. A cargo belt twists his neck at an unnatural angle. The body below appears stiff. It's letting out an ungodly rot. The smell seeps in, even through your clenched nostrils.
Active decay. It's okay to throw up, officer. No one is judging.
He's about to blow! Cop's gonna blow, Kuno!
The smell is repulsive. It pushes in from your mouth, more instant and more familiar than anything you'd expected. More fever than odor. It fills your mind.
Ничего страшного, чё?
You feel a great force ringing from your stomach. Your body curls and pushes it out. But until a pool of vomit lies under your feet, and the smell of Commodore Red rises from the pool. Among it, distilled spirit and bits of shish.
Так а чё, ну блеванул и блеванул, с кем не бывает. Тем более всю алкашку там надо себя вытряхивать. Нормально.
It's okay. Happens to everyone. Keep it. The hangover is clearly making this worse for you. You could use some ammonia to clear your head. There's the fruit nearby. Maybe they have some in their apothecary. If they don't, there's a greenhouse here, and a gardener with a wheelbarrow on the corner of the whirling in rags. If she works here, she might have something for the smell.
Pretty clever.
Acquiring ammonia will provide a modifier to the white check. Modifiers make checks easier and allow you to retry them.
Так, нужно мне куда-то вот сюда, получается. Как туда пройти? Хуй знает.
An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite. It's nothing. Someone just left some roofing material slanted again. Glad you asked. When junior researcher Olari Tal invented Eternite in the Vartna Polytechnic Institute some 30-odd years ago, he thought it would last forever. Hence the name, Eternite. Sadly, the only lasting thing turned out to be the material's highly cut. Because it's nice and orderly, well-laid pallets, rhythmic pattern, calms your mind. Mammals like this stuff. There are several footprints in the mud, left by work boots. Anywhere from 6 to 12 pairs have walked here. Heavy workers' boots with reinforced toes and hobnails, all over the yard. Isn't this something an industrial worker would wear?
Noted.
Так почему опять неудача-то, ну ёпта?
Despair creeps into you, getting fat on your weakness. Whatever noble intentions you once had as a police officer, it's eating them. You're still coming up with sentences. That's a step up from total annihilation, right?
I don't dispute that you have been charged with protecting the people of a particularly challenging district. But poverty does not make one a loser. Poverty...
Nothing you can say would make you feel any better now. Cop gives up the detective genre for social realism. Another police officer resigned from the RCM following a nervous breakdown. He now lives under... You see several packaged raincoats fill a low shelf beneath a display.
Hello, sir. Step right in. The store is open. Are you interested in a new and exciting book? Okay, sir. I'll try to answer any questions you have. My name is Annette, sir. My mum, her name is Plaisance. She owns the store. She's inside, minding the register. Feel free to step in and browse our wares. I'm signalling that the store is open. Otherwise, people might not know. They'd miss out on the crime, romance, and biographies of famous people. Thank you, sir. I'm happy to help Mum out with the store. I do my studies at home at the moment. I have to help Mum keep this place running. Mum says it's necessary to do both because it builds character. Mum says a proper worker is dutiful. That's how you get ahead in life.
There is stress and unease behind these words. She's reciting etiquette.
Mum says it's peachy. She was a little afraid at first. There's talk about this house being cursed.
Welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies of Famous People. Be welcome, and please take responsibility for the energy you bring into this space. Sir, don't be ridiculous. I certainly will not give you money. I would be doing you a grave. One has to earn one's success, even if one is a police officer.
Certainly there are good things to be said about dependents.
Oh my, of course. What a man. I am the proudest owner of our little shop of culture. Annette, yes, my daughter. I hope she wasn't slacking off again with her nose in science fiction. Tell me, was she at her post doing her job like a proper girl? And what else can I do for you? Cursed? Who said that? Annette? I will have a word with her.
What in God's name is she talking about? You see a set of tattered curtains blocking the way to another room.
Excuse me, officer. The back room is strictly for employees only.
Just as you're about to pull apart the curtains, the petrified voice of the shop owner.
Sir, don't touch that. I told you it's off limits for the customers. Parapsychologically speaking, we're done if you decide to open them.
She looks away, mumbling. Why is everyone always messing with the curtains? Why can't they just buy books like normal people?
No! Please just talk to me, officer. Come here and let's talk this through before...
Talking is always good. You see a tattered set of curtains and a polyhedron-shaped cage-like trinket.
Hello again, esteemed officer, and welcome to Crime, Romance, and Biographies. I already told you, it's just a storage room for employees. Just let it go, officer. Go buy some goddamn books.
She recites it like it's a poem. Or like she's so tense, it's a miracle she hasn't snapped in half yet.
I'm not tense, I'm just... Okay, fine. It's because this place is cursed. Just, are you happy now, officer? Happy that you've ruined everything?
Host of hosts, she prays. Guard me and my honest business venture from the curse that lurks behind the curtains.
The curse is so much worse than you could imagine. It's a disease, eating at the very foundation. It's the curse of financial distress, of ruin and bankruptcy. But officer, there's nothing natural about entire companies declaring bankruptcy. I'm talking about cacodemons. There's something wrong with this building, I can tell you. Ever since I arrived, I've sensed an eerie lingering presence, as if I was unwanted here. Most certainly not. I'm not letting you open the gates of hell. In fact, I don't want anyone who isn't familiar with...
My liege, you know what this case calls for? A para-detective.
Okay, but please, only a few questions. You wouldn't want to disturb the spirits. Yes, I've contacted numerous parapsychologists, and even a pair of the wards help to keep the doom at bay and protect us against the darkness that lies further in the building. Even though now I fear. Oh, this! No, it's a special Himian amulet. Blessed by there are numerous spells cast throughout the store. I had the books anointed with a different inducement spell, for example. It's
Desert pygmy shamans. That sounds like a rather... The woman before you scans the store. Her shoulders rigid and tense. Slither
О,
up to her,
наконец-то.
you silver-tongued fiend. Show her what world-class perfidy looks like.
Are you sure? Don't think I haven't seen charlatans before. You're no para-detective. You look nothing like one. And you're clearly a drinker.
You look like one. The lieutenant keeps his usual stony calm. He silently picks out his notebook.
How do you know all this?
Here we go.
I should have realized. A pattern lies within the fabric. The hand of fate guides us, but I am not the only one at risk. I have to think of my daughter. You are certain you can help us? Keep us safe? I can't allow any collateral damage to hit us. If you promise, good officer, then you might be our last hope. Do you swear it? Thank you, sir. There's one more thing I haven't told you about yet. The entity.
Do not act surprised. You know of these things, sire.
You have? The entity takes the form of a woman, a witch probably. I've suspected that she must be connected to the curse ever since I first saw her. Did you know that she lives inside the chimney? Yes, that chimney is part of the building's central furnace, and it's enormous. She
Что
has
за ебанутая
barricaded
женщина?
herself behind some metal security curtains. Some unnatural magic, I assume. You should go find the entity and ask what happened to all the companies in the building. What is the source of this curse? Here's the key. Oh, and please do return to me after you've looked round. I'm quite anxious to know.
What you discover? Probably just some office space. Don't be scared. You see a set of tattered curtains. You see a dimly lit room full of dusty furniture and trash. A doorway stands in the back, covered in dozens.
Oh!
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of little oddly shaped trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. Only an echo. No one is there. A hollowed-out, dark echo. After exerting some force, you manage to turn the key. It's eerily silent. The door slides slightly open, letting a draft of cold air into the room. barbell lies on the floor. The color has worn off. It's 60 kilograms. Your triceps hum at the sight of these weights. Show the world what kind of
Ой,
beast
30
it's
загудели от
dealing
одного
with.
ее вида.
Lift them.
Ну что, поднимем, ёпта.
There are no collars on the barbell. This is a safety hazard.
You're right. The weight may fall off. Better not touch it then. It would be a violation of EPIS safety regulations if the gym was still operating, but it isn't. No.
Ладно, хуй я подниму ее, блядь, 3% на успех.
What is this place? I think you're right, though it looks like no one's been here in ages. I doubt the electricity still works. We should find a flashlight if we want to go on. There should be one in my kinema.
Some specks of dust shimmer in a faint beam of daylight falling from the window. An eerie feeling rises in your chest. The lieutenant nods.
А где фонарик? Я что, ебу, что ли? Так, пойдем без фонарика, что?
It's dark. This would be a lot easier. I've got one in the kinema's toolbox. We should go back for it before we continue.
Some areas are inaccessible.
Да, понял, понял. Так, где его машина-то? Я что-то не помню. Это что ли?
Before you stands a vapor emanates from the large. This must be the in the cabin. You are welcomed by a set of steering levers. A scent of leatherwork and heavy fuel oils washes over you. A metallic drawer.
Take what you need, officer. It's going to be a long case. I'm not protective of my tool.
It's robust. Weather lets you see things in the dark you would otherwise miss. The pry bar feels nice and cold in your hand. Heavy, useful for opening all sorts of doors and lids. The handles are long and sleek. Snap. You can do good work with the pull-out toolbox. Slides back into its net.
Ну все, погнали, хули. Левая коронная, правая похоронная получается. С монтировкой-то мне ничего не страшно, в принципе. Это что, можно продать, получается, что ли? За 50 реалов.
This appears to be some kind of machine with a cube-shaped heart and a wired framework.
The radio computer. Just sitting here without anyone inside.
What he means is that these things cost money. Why would anyone just leave it behind? This is the Ream Civic radio computer, model RC5120.
We have one of these down at the station, but I never really learned how to.
The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber, revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide open. It's empty like a beehive without its brood. The filament you have would fit perfectly inside the compartment.
А, понял.
Like a smooth drawer, the filament slides into place. On the keyboard, the play key starts blinking. A bar of fabric right above the keyboard starts producing a soft hum. The static gets louder, slowly filling up the abandoned hall, until...
Good morning. Fortress accident en rue de Saint-Ghislaine. This is East Insulindian Repeater Station 1. Please repeat. Is this the production schedule? The filament you have inserted into the reader. That was a question. Have you inserted it into the core? Good. Please repeat the password.
Password? Of course it would have a password. That's why there's a human administrator involved.
No.
A hint system is not part of the protocol for repeater stations.
Still no. I am contractually obliged to protect the privacy of the filament holder for trust access.
I'm afraid we are not doing that, unless we want to wait for a month.
Now, can you please repeat the password? Received. I will register this
Don't worry. Passwords have a way of turning up.
Fortress accident. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Fortress Accident is the company on whose name the terminal you are currently using has been registered. One moment. Fortress Accident SCA produces revolutionary interactive...
That's not bad.
Any other questions? Good. Please repeat. Received.
Don't worry. Password.
Fortress Accident. Is there? Thank you and goodbye.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering, casting the framework in a soft glow. Fluorescent play and print keys shine on the keyboard. Nothing happens. Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles, sketches, and schemes. Some of the writing has faded with age, but you can still make out sections here and there. Photos and drawings. These lithe, pointy-eared creatures appear to be different types of Welkins, translucent Welkins, with organs shining under their skin, and even ether Welkins, hailing from the vast emptiness of sidereal space. You should adopt one of those Welkins as your persona. No longer a mere man, but a Welkin. One of the Welkins, towering among the rest, appears to be different, however. It's Vara Hamira, a high Welkin, his face white and scarred like cracked marble. This is clearly a Welkin supremacist. The notes, the Haldor, the Tworg, the humans, and even headless.
An inordinate amount of time has gone into drawing these little Welkin creatures. Some people really like building a world, I think, even if it's just for a game. Political commentary. Just look at those details. So much effort.
The photo collage depicts barren, icy landscapes wrapped in entire oceans have been frozen from shore to shore. You see primitive oil rigs built into glaciers, boreal dvorg, yurts under the snow, great mammoth-like beasts of burden. Albeit dark and cold, this vision also feels cozy in its own way, like eggnog or morphine. A pinned postcard reads, "The heat death scenario. A desperate fight for geothermal energy engulfs the world. This is a monthly calendar from the year 50. Cryptic words like sprint, daily minimi. It looks a bit like an academic calendar. A minimi stands for a mini meeting. It's part of a bigger framework for managing work called RUN. Station 4. As time goes on, the numbers in the boxes grow rarer and rarer. The board becomes an empty snowfield in the final days.
Looks like they didn't make it.
A note in the bottom left corner of the chalkboard says, "See the prod schedule filament for details." The handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans: "Call in, tune out," "Wirral untethered," and "Heat death of..." The full text reads, "Heat death of the universe is the new black." Another note says, "The biggest advancement in roleplay." This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker, the mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin. The whole thing resembles Kadran mosaic tiles. Very pedantic. Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced. You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says, they must have had massive air width. These things don't come cheap. Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, a list of names under the stations suggests people across 6 Isolas would be playing. Muindi, Insulinda. There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like this off.
My God, it's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became. The schedule. I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from times.
Okay, what do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace? Yes, that is the question.
Like he's ready to lay out a fine theory, crafted together like a puzzle.
It looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games, only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio computers. Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Graz, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with...
Not in Revachol West.
But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an interisolary game before. We just don't have the technology. No idea. They stopped filling out the schedule on the chalkboard. Indeed, those Welkins are a dead giveaway. Role-playing people love that stuff. The world looks like a modified version of the WeWorld board game, with hit death thrown in.
Super cool. Someone should give them millions of real immediately. This game is too good to be left unfinished.
Through call-in stations, none of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio. Then there's the game master frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning...
Coordinating so many games would take a whole switchboard of people, possibly divided into sub-frequencies.
Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but... It's too late for that, I'm afraid. Okay, let's keep moving.
An iron safety curtain curves before your eyes, folded like a bellows. It covers half the room, blocking the way in. This must be where the entity lives. What an odd thing to do. Nothing happens. Still nothing. No one. Those curtains prove to be surprisingly sturdy. Your fist hurts now. If this is really an entrance to the chimney, then there must be a furnace somewhere as well.
Can you please try to refrain from attacking random things? Why do you think there's something on the other side, necessarily? In any case, there's no way we can get in right now.
Tiles on the cube are still. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps through the machine's plane.
Good morning. Doctor, please repeat. Is this the production schedule? Good. Please received.
Don't worry.
Fortress X. Thank you.
Tiles on the cube. You see a terrifying ice bear with a strange compartment in its belly. The door is covered in frost, and the bear looks oddly realistic. Is it taxidermy? The lieutenant doesn't answer. His eyes are glued to the animal. A gust of freezing cold air rushes to greet you. You hear a low grumble as the bear regulates its. The lieutenant takes a peek inside. His hand has found the holster of his gun.
Да, холодильник, конечно, пиздатый. О, у меня сейчас будет пистолет. Нихуя себе.
Of course, just a giant ice bear-shaped fridge. Let's take a look inside.
The shelves are empty. All you see are crumpled ice cream wrappers with the brand name, Revachol Ice City. A handwritten note has been attached to the door. The fridge is huge.
Ага, хуй мне, а не пистолет.
Good question. It looks like an ice cream fridge. I know. What an unfortunate marketing choice. What is even worse, the bear is still costing them money to this day.
The fridge buzzes with energy. The electricity bill on this thing must be catastrophic. A friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you from a glossy cellophane. The paper still smells of vanilla and chocolate. You pocket the note and the little fridge magnets keeping it on the door.
You've acquired an interactable item. Investigate this item further by going to the Interact tab in your inventory.
The note is written with a blue pencil on a piece of lined office paper. The kitchen magnets have left spots on its surface.
Does it say anything interesting?
This is tangential at best, but the lieutenant's detective instinct is still. Someone has scribbled, S. I can't believe the off-site copy is still here. The illiterate ginger kid keeps stealing stuff from the studio, so I had to hide it somewhere safe.
О, это рыжий шкет, это тот пиздюк, который меня нахуй послал, да?
You'll find the filament memory with the off-site copy in the frozen ice cream maker. Please take it home, ASAP. It's important. I'd do it myself if I lived in a civilized place with a freezer. Take care, Suliswaf.
It belongs inside a radio computer, storing its memory. It's like a tape. You listen to disco tapes, right? It's like one of your disco tapes. Looks like someone from that radio game company upstairs. I'm a little surprised they just left their property lying here. That's a plausible hypothesis. Some local miscreant, probably. There are tons of them running around in Martinez, ready to stir up trouble. We usually dispatch our... I don't know. I assume it's somewhere close to the ice bear fridge.
A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black. It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. The echo is so prominent, It's impossible to discern what the voices are.
What are you doing? Wait, really? Maybe it's coming from behind those safety curtains we saw upstairs.
Something breaks loose in you. A mighty bellow echoes throughout the chimney's depths. The chatter of tiny voices above suddenly ceases.
Hello? Hello? Did you say anything? I can't hear you. Please come upstairs. There's a safety curtain on the second floor. I'll open it.
А, ну вот, защитный экран сейчас мне откроется. Все,
You hear
понял.
a low rumble upstairs. The sound of a...
After you, officer.
A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in.
There is, yes. And there also appears to be something inside the hole. Interesting.
Your hand reaches deep into darkness and spiderwebs. Rummaging around, you find
Are these any good?
most of them are rusty and inoperable, like the rest. But one catches your eye. A bolt-action
А вот
model
уже
with
начинается
fine
интересное
wood
что-то,
stock
кстати.
in better cosmetic order than...
That's a rare sight. Seems to no longer be functional, but still a beautiful thing in its own way. It means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around in Martinez. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say. Might come in.
А что, я не могу винтовку взять, что ли, или что? А, так тут можно навыки прокачивать. А я не знал.
This orange machine is buzzing like an old submarine. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner on top and an electric freezer that appears to... Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying, like stirring your childhood dreams. In the distance, you hear water dripping.
О, наконец-то мне здоровье добавилось.
Two cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads to the ice bear fridge and the black one to the ice cream maker nearby. An electric sizzle. The room is slightly quieter now. Something close to you dies with a soft electric...
Why did you do that?
The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything. The electric distribution board now has...
О, нифига себе, майка все еще. А, так это вот мы тут вышли? Нифига себе.
An old call box. East Delta Commerce Center.
Опачки.
Hello, I'm Nia. Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening. So what kind of dye are you looking?
She's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the lynching.
Then how did you get inside? By the south entrance? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you're finally here. Let's talk dice. Did you have something specific in mind? I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need.
Role-playing games? You know the one made by Fortress Accident. Does that count?
Answers? How strange. These days people only... I'm not sure how helpful I'll be, but go ahead and ask.
It almost looks as if the stones and dice are a natural part of the room, growing out of the... No falsehoods are present. She's a novelty dice maker and doesn't have anything to hide. Ask what you need.
We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know. But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home.
Creative.
When she arrived here, there was no room anywhere else. She must have known the other businesses.
I've heard the stories, but I don't think those stories are true. Plaisance, the bookshop lady? I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energy spared her somehow? Oh, right. But it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the whirling in racks? Some people say it's part of the building complex. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the east of the Commerce Central project. And then there is me. I've been here for 14 years, selling novelty dice to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million-real business idea.
Maybe it's just because she's so talented that she's been able to woo the curse.
Malignant entity? What does that even mean? Some kind of sorceress? What about you, officer? Do you think I'm the malignant entity? Exactly. Truth is always so disappointingly mundane and boring. But I'm glad we got this sorted out. Anything else I can help you with?
That's all she has to say on the subject. She's been thorough and truthful, as far as we can see.
More or less. Are you interested in anyone specific?
Oh, quite a lot of them spring to mind.
Fortress Accident, the radio game studio. They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once
That's understandable. Fantasies are serious things.
They certainly took their work very seriously. Even if they seemed to be the usual, they ran out of money and couldn't get the project done on time. Well, I did hear them talking at times. They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand...
She sounds almost mocking when she says that.
Yes, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged. In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic. And to show up to work on time. Still, not everyone is going to make it. That's the nature of the game.
The result is 1 on a 20.
Anything else? Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else? Nothing really. I didn't know him.
The lieutenant looks at his notebook. Then,
Your window looks directly onto the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear.
I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window. It's an odd profession, making dice for people, but I like it. and I prefer doing this to sitting at home. I might have, but in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness.
It's light here, but dark in the yard at night.
It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window and, well, there's always something going on in the world. During daytime, there are usually those kids. And lately, I've been seeing...
She's heard of the murder, but did not see it, sire.
But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid.
She nods.
Anything else, officer? I'm listening. Oh, right. I hope you didn't try to ring me. I think none of those doorbells work, including mine. I'm still in the middle of connecting the...
The doorbell with the empty name card must belong to her then.
That's right. I haven't even written my name there. As I said, it's quite useless right now. It doesn't work yet. It can't be true. They don't work here anymore. They've been gone. Are you sure it was Slipstream SEA? Was it a woman? Maybe it was Plaisance from the bookstore. Tricentennial Electrics? It used to be a major electric company 100 years ago.
It was too real to be just a prank. Either way, whatever happened, keep your cool. It's probably better to admit that it was a harmless prank.
A prank is more likely, no? Oh, the kids these days. We were just one of them, and now they're terrorizing us. Sure, I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit.
Tiles on the cube are still smoke. The speaker comes to life. Static seeps.
Good afternoon. Please repeat. Is this the good? Please repeat the password. Received. I
Don't worry. Pass.
Fortress accident. Is thank you.
Tiles on the cube ask the speaker.
Good afternoon. Please repeat. Yes, I am alive.
She repeats passwords. Programming people are all paranoid.
I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian repeater station. As for me, well, I am sitting in my now. Please tell me if there's anything else I can do, Fortress Accident. Thank you.
Tiles on the cube are still smoldering.
You're alive and well. Don't keep me waiting now. What's in there? Yes? How
Tell her how ghastly it was. You know it's what she wants to hear.
I knew it. Oh, such horrors that have been thrust upon. But what else did you find? Did anything survive? No, of course not. Have you located the entity? A novelty dice maker? Well, spit it out. Why does she need the dice? For some kind of sorcery? Sometimes they use the ankle bones of sheep. I don't understand. If it's not her, then where is the source of the doom?
The narrative she's built herself, it does need tearing down. She's squeezing on the pendant too tight. A drop of blood. To hell with it. Perchance you ought to just lie, sire.
Too many inconsistencies. What kind of talk is that?
Good luck persuading her. Some people can rationalize anything.
I am not doing as well as it looks like I am. I only have my Simone's wards to thank for the protection they provide. Yes, because her business consists of the psychic leech that's been feeding the curse. I see that you've fallen for her manipulation, Detective. The investigation is over. I just hope that you haven't made thank you for nothing. Please do buy some books or be on your way.
There was never any other way this could have gone. She's just too far.
I am sorry we had to disappoint you, ma'am. Can we go now?
Пойду поем, что-то есть хочется. Потом еще зайду.